What the? Another episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Meridian upload already? Someone check on James, quick. He must not be feeling okay. See, he might be coming down with something. Hurry! No. Just, I have some free time, so I just figured, screw it, you know what? I'm gonna friggin' catch up with Meridian, and then there's no more excuses, no more questions of when. I'm doing it now. That way Chapter 4 can come out as soon as I finish reading this. But, cross that bridge if and when we get to it. Right now, we're focusing on Meridian, Chapter 3. Created by Ogre Among Us, of course. Chapter 3, Another Part of Me. I don't know this song. I straight up, but to be fair, that's a bit more of a cliche line, so it's perfect to be a song cover. Anyway, if I had a nickel for every song that was named Monster, I would have a lot of nickels. Anyway, the summary is, following the clash of the swamp, Mercury goes berserk and lashes out at Brina. As the others attempt to catch up to them, it's up to Brina to bring back her brother, or bring her brother back. Because, in case you didn't forgot the last one, even though it was like 2 days ago, or something. The point is, Mercury went berserk because Isaac got shot by a guy who was using magical musketeers, and worse still, nope, I blanked it. It's so bland and lifeless that I just forgot what it was. The frickin' Fiendsmith, it was playing Fiendsmith. And, he got shot, which triggered Isaac's other form, Mercury, to spawn in. And, now we're all in trouble. But fortunately, the dual anchor has been activated, which means the robot can't activate any of those abilities he has. So if you're wondering just like, why doesn't he just shoot her? He can't. He's not allowed to. The dual anchor prevents that. And just to clear up a couple of things that were brought to me behind the scenes, the reason they are giving dual discs with dual anchors, they are police dual discs. So, yeah, that's why they get stuff from Sister, because that's what Sister gave them, and the Sister ran the police thing, so of course that's why they have those dual discs with dual anchors, and all that. So, yeah, that's that cleared up. But now, if there's any other behind-the-scenes stuff, I think I'll let you know, but, yeah, obviously I'm not going to give away the big stuff like spoilers, but, just the clarifications. But anyway, disclaimer to those reacting... Shut up! Disclaimer to those reacting to this. Yu-Gi-Oh! Meridian does contain language, sensitive scenes, fighting action, tense situations, and themes that might be a little too mature for a younger audience. Fuck right off! Still not as weird as the censor for Sonic Adventure 2 contains mild lyrics. There's some singing. There's gonna be some singing in this video game. What the hell even is a mild lyric? Like, I know what they mean. Like, there's gonna be some potential cursing. Like, we might use a snotty word here or there, but still, like, the term mild lyrics. What? Anyway, this is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Story, but also a more mature one. Please keep in mind the tags at the top of the page and continue reading at your own risk. Credits created by Ogre Among Us, written by Spooky Electronics and Ogre Among Us. Dual scripting by Alan, TCG, and Ogre Among Us. Written and overseen by Spooky Electronics, Dusan Cookie Wolf, and Dealer and Faith. Characters by Ogre Among Us and Spooky Electronics, and logos by Sovereign Jared Kwan. I have no idea who Jared is, but he makes a lot of great thumbnails, so I can't knock him. I probably have met him before, just one of those things just like brain fart. Dang. This is really cool. It's also cool to see, right up in person what the hell Mercury looks like. Friggin' like Metal Overlord with a hoodie. Has a heralded crest thing in the background. This weird monster, and this weird monster. So, well, why not just get right into it? Anyway, we begin Yu-Gi-Oh! Meridian Chapter 3. Somewhere else. Well, that narrows it down. It's on Earth. It's not here. The first thing Doyo noticed is the silence. Not just quiet, absence. No wind, no breath, no pulse. Because he was knocked unconscious by the dude playing the Magical Musketeers, for a quick recap. The kind of silence that came after something holy had died screaming. He stood in what it might once have been a chapel, or maybe a courthouse, or a stage. The architecture didn't agree with itself. Columns slanted where pews should be, a fractured stained glass window hovering in place without any frame, casting colored light onto nothing. He was barefoot. The floor felt warm. A distinct figure stood to the far end, beneath where a pulpit may have been. Clad in ragged gray robes, they moved even though the air didn't. Face obscured, back turned, watching something that wasn't there. Would you people stop staring at nothing? For God's sakes, what are you, dogs? This keeps happening. It happened to the frickin' Brina in the last episode, which is like, looking at nothing, looking at everything. It's a void of nothing, or looking out to nothing. What the hell is... I know it's supposed to be like symbolic, but it's still like you're looking at nothing. Or I guess it could be staring off into space. Anyway. Hey! Doyle called out instinctively, his voice barely echoed. This someone's dream or what? Can't be my dream, that would be ridiculous. The figure tilted its head just slightly. When the time comes, it said, the voice old and clean. You will seek me. Doyle frowned. Well, that's not ominous at all. What if it's Gemini from Welcome to Duo Academy? Are you seriously telling me you screwed up because you couldn't stop thinking with your penis? The figure pointed to Doyle's hand, prompting him to raise it. There was a blank card with a dissolved picture in the grasp of it. Not clear at all. Wait, this is just a card that was just in my tech box where I came from back in the prison. What are the odds? You will be lost, the figure continued unmoved. And when you are, remember, I am what you were. I am what you chose not to become. What does that even mean? Who are you? What is this, Kingdom Hearts? The figure turned, no face, just a single dark seam running vertically through its head, as though reality had been zipped up around a void. Behind them, a massive scythe unfurled, black steel and coiled bone, held loosely by a habit. Or held loosely like a habit. Doyle stepped back. The figure pointed the blade towards him and smiled. You will find me when it hurts the most. Then, a flash of red, a swing, darkness cleaved him in two. Well, and that's the end of Yu-Gi-Oh! Meridian. You know, it was a short series, and I'm sorry it took me so long to get to it, but hey, you know, that's nice. Oh, wait, no, there's more beneath that. I'm sorry. Okay, I think this might lead in... I mean, it's probably supposed to be symbolic, and just like your inner self, he has no past, and always the memories are trying to regain themselves in a way, or like what he didn't choose to be. Although part of it with the no face, what you could have been, makes me think it's part of Althea's plan in some regard, because she's making those whole robot things, or a bunch of spawns, or whatever. Her bonkers attack plan, it might come to fruition. Excuse me. Moving on. In the Odystropian Road, Swamplands, Doyle gasped awake. His first instinct was to throw up. His second was to punch the nearest thing. He settled for groaning. Back among the living, are we? Calypso's voice above him. Sharp and unmistakably annoying. Fantastic timing. Did anyone get the number? Even when I'm trying to fix the comment, I'm screwing up. Did anyone get the license plate of that psychological trauma? Doyle croaked, dragging himself upright. His jacket was soaked through. His ribs screamed. We've got bigger problems, Mirabelle snapped, crouching nearby and tapping her duel to scan residual energy trails. Brenna ran ahead. Mercury followed. Dual anchor should prevent pursuit, but he's, well, unwell. You have one job! How do you prevent pursuit in a dual anchor thing? Like you're anchored to someone. Plus it's Brina dragging Mercury, not the other way around. I guess it's one of those things where it's just like, let's take this over there. Okay, but we equipped onto here. Whatever. You mean unhinged, Calypso muttered. She was limping slightly, but her tone didn't show it. Like something ripped out Isa and left behind the rabbit bits, behind. Can't we just yank Isa out of him? Doyle winced as he stood, wiping dried blood from his temple. Also, could someone explain what's going on? No, Mirabelle said curtly. Isa's not a prisoner in there. He's gone quiet. Mercury's in full control, and he's treating Brenna like a virus. Or Brenna. That tracks, Doyle muttered. Most people would want to run from Brenna. He's the only one he's the only one trying to install her. I thought it was going to be something like, most people try to run from Brenna. He's the only one crazy enough to run towards her. Calypso didn't laugh. If he catches her, he might not stop at a warning shot. That sobered him up. Doyle rolled his shoulder. Alright, no pressure. Just a rogue, dual spirit in kill mode and our swamp cryptid bestie on the run. Move, Mirabelle ordered. We can still intercept them if we follow the Lee Echo. Well, whatever. The duelist ping. The three of them plunged into the wet dark. And somewhere ahead, through gnarled roots and stinking fog, the shriek of corrupted heraldry magic tore through the trees. The muck only got deeper as they moved. It clung to their boots like second thoughts. The only sound was the rhythmic screeching of motion, and the distant fractured hum of magic, like something fraying at the edge of the spell. Calypso had her duelist active now, just faintly glowing, casting weird shadows across her arms. Mirabelle walked with focus, scanning the flickering ley trail Mercury had torn into the swamp with every step. Okay, so it's like bleeding oil. I guess that got something to do with the burning eyes we saw on the cover. Actually, with that kind of look, it looked kind of like bullets, but that's more a gotcha limitation. Only so many ways of doing a robot, right? Yeah. Every few steps, he paused to tap her interface and check the echoes. Doyle just followed, head down, one hand braced against his ribs. His mind wouldn't stop turning. After a long silence, he finally spoke. Hey, you two ever get a car from something you don't remember? You two ever get a car that you don't remember getting? Calypso didn't look back. You mean like when Brenna hands you a glitter bomb trap card and swears it's part of your deck list? Nah, thanks. Calypso didn't... Oh, I just read that. Not what I meant. Doyle's voice was a low echo. A little low. No, sorry, Doyle's voice was low. A little too low. I mean, really don't remember. Like, it shouldn't be there, but it is. This made Calypso slow. Mirabelle didn't pause, but she did glance sideways. Doyle fished into his jacket, pulled out a weathered sleeve from the inside lining. Inside was a single Xyz monster, no rank in sight. He held it up, the hazy light bleeding through the trees. Well, it's nice to know it's a Xyz for a change. Basically, it's a synchro. But, you know, that's because where the whole blank card thing came from. But actually, to be fair, it came from Dual Monsters. I'm not focusing on that. No name, he said quietly. Just a silhouette. It's like a dragon, but wrong. Like something skinned the idea of a dragon and wore it to the prom. Well, I think that means it's going to be Heartearth's dragon, but I'm calling that's just my prediction. Calypso squinted. What the hell kind of metaphor was that? I'm concussed. Cut me some slack. Mirabelle turned fully now, eyes narrowing as he reached for the card. May I? He handed it over. She scanned it with her dual disc. The system choked, blinked, and then fizzed. No entries, he said. Not even an archetype ping, just raw static. We sure it's an Xyz monster? I must be a black card. Then I was starting to think it was part of the invoked from Heritage. Doyle took it back, slipping it away like it might bite if he held it too long. After I woke up in my cell a few months ago, it was just there. I didn't have it before, I swear it. And whenever I try to remember how I got there, I get nothing. Like someone blacked it out. Not erased, scrubbed, expunged even. Calypso gave a low hum. You think it's connected to whatever they did to us? She pointed to the browning on her arm. I know it is, Doyle said. Same feeling I get when I look in the mirror and realize I didn't flinch at blood anymore. Jeez. The quiet landed hard for a moment. None of them spoke. Then Doyle glanced at Calypso. What about you? The whole Gitschke sprite thing you run? Always have that? Calypso snored softly. Please. No one chooses to main Gitschkes out the gate. It's a masochist decision. Onomatopoeia just comes through the brush and then leaves again. Well, to be fair, she didn't main it either. She just used it for an episode, so... No, she'd have no room to stand. Although she'd still do it because she's a bitch sometimes. Then where? I found my first one during a blackout. I'd lost a fight. Bad. Woke up behind a gas station with a cracked dual disc and a Gitschke shadow lodged in the slot. Just humming like it had been waiting. Jeez. Mirabelle arched a brow. You just accepted that? Calypso shrugged. You know me. If the universe hands me a cursed artifact, I put on lipstick and make it a fashion. Doyle chuckled once. It's weird, isn't it? Doyle said finally. None of us came into the clean. We've all got something stuck in our gears. Trauma? Calypso offered. Secrets? Mirabelle said at the same time. No thanks, I'm full. Both, Doyle admitted. And something else. He looked back towards the direction Mercury had gone. Something's wrong with us all. And I don't think we've even scratched the surface of it yet. Well, let's see. You're in the Dragonverse, so of course there's something wrong with you. And again, that's how you do character progression. You have the characters start from screwed up and then work their ways back up to modern-day humans. Well, at least managing to survive despite their disabilities. Because if you start from perfect, then where the hell is the story? I mean, you can tell a story of the perfect hero, it's just really damn hard. Anyway, Calypso didn't respond. She just kept walking. Mirabelle nodded once, then, if we live through this, she said, we need to run a diagnostic on the card. Deep dive. Whatever gave it to you might still be watching. Doyle exhaled. Yeah, I got that feeling too. The card pulsed faintly from inside his coat. Not alive, just aware. The trees began to thin slightly, just enough for a moonlight to spill in through cracks in the canopy. The moss gleamed wet and silver. The footsteps slowed, but didn't stop. Doyle slipped his hands in his coat pocket, shoulders hunched. Can I ask something? He said. Calypso gave a sarcastic little wave. Oh good, a fourth topic. This conversation needs more branches. He ignored her. Look at Mirabelle. You ever gonna explain how you went from twitchy caffeine-addicted math teacher to everyone's fall in line or die war general? Mirabelle didn't flinch. I remember you in the yard, you know, Doyle continued. Used to mutter equations under your breath like they were prayers. Got into a shouting match with the priest over a battle of Actum once. Pretty sure you cried when the prison ran out of the almond creamer. I'm sorry, I just can't think of math equations. All I can think of is friggin' Bastion Misawa. I'm gonna write math equations all over my room. Can you tell I'm the nerd of the group? At least they didn't give him glasses, I guess. That'd be a little too much into the stereotype. Mirabelle exhaled through her nose. That was a very bad week. Yeah, you ran out of cream in the almond creamer. That's a bad week by default. Everything else has just gone from bad to worse. And now you're issuing field commands like you were born in a bunker. So, what gives? Calypso glanced over with interest. Mirabelle paused in her stride, staring off into the trees. I spent years hiding, she said, hiding from behind tenure, behind academia, behind the illusion of uselessness. It worked. No one's looked twice at me. That includes me, Doyle admitted. You were background noise. Interesting, but safe. Mirabelle looked at him. Her eyes didn't blink. You assume because I was anxious I wasn't dangerous? She said quietly. A lot of people make that mistake. Until I stopped pretending. Doyle tilted his head. Pretending? She looked away. You weren't wrong, she said after a beat. I did teach math, and history, and tactics. I've worn a lot of hats. Preschool teacher, daughter of a war veteran, and an antique shop owner. Prison teacher, Calypso raised an eyebrow. And what now? You're trying on Team Mum with a gun? Mirabelle smiled faintly, and it didn't reach her eyes yet, but it didn't reach her eyes. Call it a return to form. Something about her tone was strange. Not lying, just measured. Doyle picked up on it. You always this good at playing roles? He asked, voice light but probing. Mirabelle didn't answer for a moment. She just started walking again, more slowly now. I had to be to survive long enough in this road. You learn to be flexible. A pause. People like binaries, ones or zeros. One job, one name, one story. And you? Calypso asked, tone more curious now than teasing. I am a bit more reclusive, Mirabelle replied. Messier. Doyle squinted. Reclusive? You mean like repeating layers of the same thing, feeding into itself? I mean like context is everything, she replied. And nothing. Like nothing, like everything. Would you stop repeating yourself? Calypso let out a low whistle. That's the most unsettling dodge I've ever heard all week. And I watched a man get thrown into trees less than an hour ago, she said, pointing her thumb at Doyle over her shoulder. Mirabelle's smirk returned. Good, you're learning. Doyle was still watching her, though. His eyes weren't sharp like hers, but they were observant. And something wasn't lining up. The pose, the planning, the way she didn't flinch when a corrupted dual spirit tore into the trees. He spoke slowly now, more to himself than to her. You didn't act like this back at the cell block. No, Mirabelle said softly. I didn't. He nodded once. Right. They walked a few more steps. Calypso's eyes flicked between them. Okay, can someone clue me in on the tension here? Or do I have to keep pretending I didn't walk into an identity crisis subplot? No crisis, Mirabeau said, briskly, adjusting her glasses and tapping a few controls on her tool disk. Just context. Doyle let it go. For now. But he kept her in the corner of his eye. Calypso glanced sideways at Mirabeau, one eyebrow slightly raised. So, preschool, huh? She asked. Mirabeau blinked. Excuse me? You said you taught math and history, Calypso said, brushing a vine knife away. Didn't peg you for teaching brats. Mirabeau was quiet for a second, then... I taught kids. Little one, 4, 5, maybe 6 years old at the most. I wasn't glamorous. Public sector, overcrowded classrooms. Half our library was duct taped together. But they were good kids. Bright, kind, curious. She smiled faintly. This time, it almost reached her eyes. They used to bring me weeds and call them flowers. I still kept them. Let them wilt in the window just to see the way their petals curled. Doyle glanced at her, surprised. Huh? Calypso tilted her head. What happened? Mirabeau's mouth pulled tightly. Ugh. I read the next line in my mind first and just like, God, it's always you! Even when it's not you, it's you! I swear to freaking God. You know, at some point it's like, okay, was this actually Gyro's fault? Because they keep using him to blame for everything. It's like, at some point you're going to be like, okay, no, maybe this one wasn't Gyro. I don't know. You just see him blamed for so much. It's like, actually, what if Gyro was innocent on this one? Wouldn't that be funny if it was the thing that ultimately takes Gyro down is actually something 100% not his fault, ironically? Just like, I don't know, he slips on the banana peel on the top of a flight of stairs or something. Just, I don't know, yeah. Anyway, Mirabeau's mouth pulled tightly. Gyro Martinez happened. The name fell like a stone. Former Prime Minister, back before Persephone Kruger came in and fixed everything. Yeah, Meridian takes place after the whole downfall of Gyro. Spoiler warnings, the crazy psychopath's gonna get defeated. I know, you're shocked. The schools were ineffective resource hogs. The schools were ineffective resource hogs. Cut the education budget in half, relocate everything to the military and police infrastructure. And we know darn well why he did that nowadays, she sighs. Too many poor Lancers. Good men turn into cannon fodder, and gone just as quick. And not just schools. Housing, health, food programs, slashed in half. All the help funds were... All to help his ever-growing pet projects. Bah! As far as I'm concerned, every page about him in the history books that talk about him in any way except negativity should be used to white people's... She cleared her throat. Sorry, I got a little, worked up there. I wish this was the parody part, but, slicing all the things that help out the citizens so that we can have more war money? I wish this was parody. Let's just leave it at that and move on in the story. Anyway, Calypso let out a soft breath. That bastard. Yeah, I didn't get to experience much of his tyranny firsthand, but I saw how it affected others. I don't keep up with politics much. I was just happy to see a woman at the top. Like we all should be. She emphasized that with a hair flip. Doyle blushed because, of course he did. Mirabeau nodded. They closed my school within 2 weeks. No warning. I came in one Monday and the locks were changed. What remained of the staff mailed me a severance check. And the others who got fired, they sent me a recruitment pamphlet for a sister. Doyle whispered. Real classy. Up with the big dogs, eh? Hey, you got to work with her sister, so that was a pretty good government job, so that would probably last a little while, too. It's still kind of fucked up. Just imagine you go into work one day, and it's closed. Permanently. God, I can't imagine that. I hope I don't have to experience anything like that. Ugh. Moving on. I didn't take the offer, tempting as it was. I didn't want to devote my life to something other than teaching. I wanted to get someone interested in history, excited about math, eager to learn despite how appealing the paycheck for the job offer I got was. Admittedly, haven't seen that many digits since I asked at some of the kiddos to try and count to 100,000 as a fun math distraction. Mirabeau said with a fond giggle, but I missed it. The teaching, the kids, her voice was softer now. like the edge had melted off her syllabus. They asked questions that made you see things differently, like why the sun sets but nicely, or if it rains because the clouds got sad, or if numbers have favorite numbers. Doyle chuckled. Bet none of them ever tried to shank you with a toothbrush, huh? Calypso's smile faded. She glanced ahead thoughtfully. So you chose prison teaching, huh? Because someone had to, Mirabelle said simply. I couldn't help these kids anymore. Jarvis made damn sure of that. But maybe I could help the ones who lost their way earlier. Help someone wouldn't that be later? Whatever. Help someone reroute before they get lost entirely. Prison teaching became very appealing because of that. Doyle frowned. Noble? Naive, Mirabelle corrected. I walked into the job thinking I'd save souls with a chalkboard and passion for history and math. And, Doyle questioned, it was different. She rubbed her arm absent-mindedly. Harder. A lot more yelling, a lot more silence. At Sulphur Grove, you don't teach convicts. You wear them down until they let you talk. There was something in her tone that hinted at bitterness, not resentment, just tired. Doyle scratched her neck. Did you hate it? Mirabelle thought about it for a moment. No, she said finally. But it stopped being fun. It got busier. Less of reformation work, more of the bureaucracy. Fewer names, more numbers. Litchell let out a low hum. I remember you always had a mug in hand. Mirabelle nodded. Coffee became my religion. Doyle grinned. That bad, huh? Mirabelle smiled. Let's just say I realized something important in there. She tapped the rim of her dual disc absent-mindedly. Life is easier with a vice. That hung in the air. Then Doyle broke with a shrug. Could be worse. You could have turned to gambling. Ugh, I did, Mirabelle said. That's why I became very good at blackjack and banned about 27 of the 53 casinos in it. That's why I'm very good at blackjack and banned from about 27 of the 53 casinos in Astropia. Calypso burst out laughing. Doyle raised both eyebrows. Okay, that's fair. They kept walking. The tension wasn't gone, but the silence returned after a while, slow and thick through the mud air. Calypso idly flipped a card between her fingers. Something cheap and low rarity. A token of focus or boredom. Doyle couldn't tell. Since we're off of the stuff with Mirabelle, I do want to say it was like a tragic backstory. Just, she wanted to help others, but, you know, some people take great offense to you helping other people. Because they have nothing going on in their lives after all, so they have to make your life more miserable. Ugh. Just... At least she was happy with what she was doing, I guess, in both forms, but in the end, with the prison stuff, it became more boring. Although it's a kind of realistic resume at the same time, too. It's like, yeah, I wasn't always working in the prison. I came to something else first. You know, you don't just stay in one job forever. I don't know. Just, damn. Poor Mirabelle. No wonder she got this expression. She wants to help people, but... Well, when you're in this line of work, you have to learn some different ways. It must have been quite the shake-up to go from, like, preschool kids to friggin' full-grown adults, though. Like, obviously she knew there would be a change there, and especially when they're convicts to boot on top of that, but... Yeesh. Must have been one hell of a learning curve for her, too. But she got the hang of it in the end, so good work for her. Anyway, let's continue with the story now. Mirabelle's eyes, still scanning ahead, broke the quiet and surgical perception. Alright, that's enough about me. Calypso raised an eyebrow without turning. Finally grew tired of being fascinating? No, Mirabelle said flatly. I'm just enforcing fairness. She stopped. Turned. Your turn. Calypso scoffed, slowed her steps. Oh no, not this again. Doyle grinned. Come on, you know you want a monologue. I don't monologue, Calypso said, tossing the card high and catching it behind her back. I authenticize. That there's a difference. Mirabelle folded her arms. Calypso sighed, a bit too dramatically. Fine. You want my bio? She said, stretching like a cat in the moonlight. Here it is. No tragic past. No noble calling. I took some modeling gigs when I was younger. Lied about my age on dozens of occasions. Walked for brands that no one remembers. Shot for magazines that folded 2 weeks later. I went to clubs. I danced. I borrowed some cash from the people here and there while they were too busy ogling me. I let people pay for my drinks, and I let them pretend that meant something. Her tone didn't sharpen, but sometimes it tightened. But something in it tightened, like fabric pulling at the seams. I made bad choices. Gorgeous ones, mostly. Some famous, some not. I wandered. I stayed in cities I couldn't pronounce. Drifted through parties I don't remember leaving. She spun the card between her fingers again, fast this time. I eventually figured, if I don't have a purpose, I can at least be a mirror. Doyle tilted her head. A mirror? Calypso shrugged, then smirked. I let people look at me, want me, project onto me. If I'm pretty enough, they don't ask questions. Doesn't matter if they're staring at my face or at my tits. I'm being looked at, desired. That's enough, isn't it? The swamp buzzed slowly. No one spoke right away, but then Doyle very quietly. Is it? Lisa's smile flickered just for a second. That's the question, isn't it? She muttered. She kept walking. Didn't answer, but she stopped flipping the card. Mirabelle was the one to speak next. You let them look, she said, tone even, and that was enough. Calypso didn't stop. Her next exhale had teeth. It was easier, she said. Being desired meant I didn't have to think about being worth anything. She gave a half shrug, half flinched. Models don't need philosophies. Pretty girls don't need plans. They just have to keep shining until the next one comes along to replace them. Mirabelle watched her closely. And that didn't bother you? Calypso turned her head slightly, casting her profile in the moonlight. It did, sometimes. Then I get invited to another rooftop, another penthouse, another night where someone looked at me like I was the only thing in the world that mattered. Her voice dripped. Even if they forgot my name by morning, despite how often I'd wake up next to them. Mirabelle's gaze narrowed, but not in an unkind way. So you made your own myth, filled your own gap with glamour. Calypso chuckled softly. Don't say it like it's profound or deeper than it is. I just liked being the elephant in the room. If I'm going to feel empty, I'd rather do it in heels. They reached a dry patch on the ground. Calypso stopped. She didn't sit, but she rested one foot on a half-submerged root and leaned forward slightly. Arms wrapped around her ribs. Doyle stepped closer, his voice now softer. But you weren't always like this, right? I mean, there was a time before that, right? Calypso glanced at him. Her expression was unreadable. You mean when I was a real person instead of an accessory or a pair of legs? Or an accessory with legs? Doyle flushed. No, I didn't mean... I know, she cut him off. Not angry. I just stopped seeing the point of remembering childhood. Messy. Parents? Not around. Friends? Fleeting. Nothing ever stuck. So I stopped chasing it. Doyle hesitated, then said, a little shy. I think you'd be surprised how many people would want to know you for more than just you being, aesthetically overwhelming. Calypso raised an eyebrow. That's supposed to be flattery? No, Doyle said honestly. I mean, yes, but not just that way. I think you're clever, smart, funny even when you're deflecting. Calypso blinked. Do you have a crush on me, Doyle? Doyle froze. Mirabelle looked up sharply. He swallowed. I mean, yeah, kind of hard not to, isn't it? He said, a lopsided grin. I mean, look at you. You take a villainous duel like a lunatic. You talk like a villainous duel like a lunatic and somehow make a swamp humidity look good. And it's the rest that gets me. The cracks, the part of you don't let anyone see, the part that's real, at least to me. Calypso stared at him, long enough that even Mirabelle looked vaguely concerned. Then, unexpectedly, she laughed. Not her usual theatrical chuckle, a real laugh. Small, sharp, honest. Oh God, you're so sincere it physically hurts, she said, covering her face with one hand. Do you just wake up like this? No shame, no filter, full-on golden retriever puppy energy? Doyle smiled helplessly. Unfortunately, yes. Calypso shook her head, smiling despite everything. You are so not my type. Good, Doyle said. Your type sounds exhausting. Calypso snorted, and for a moment, just a flicker, her eyes softened. Mirabelle arched a brow. Well, this is going better than expected. Oh, shut up, Calypso said, still smiling. I can see you mentally taking notes. I take notes on everything, Mirabelle replied. Doyle, feeling slightly emboldened, cleared her throat. So, if it's not weird, can I ask you one more thing? Calypso turned towards him again. You're already weird. Go on. What would you be, Doyle said, if no one was watching? That stopped her cold. Her smile faltered, not dramatically, just a hairline fracture in her expression. She looked away. I don't know. She said it quietly. And that, more than anything else, she said tonight, felt true. And that, more than anything else she said tonight, felt true. Damn. There are a few fates in humanity that some consider worse than being forgotten. Just people want to know that they left some sort of impact, or at least be acknowledged as someone who exists, you know? We don't all want to fade in the background and be forgotten. Like, some people even be like the worst person imaginable if it at least means that they're remembered in the history books. Like a freaking gotta avoid the most obvious one. You're George Washington. You're George Foreman. You're Ronald McDonald. You're heck, even you're like Mr. Beast, or you're freaking other people throughout history. Like, it doesn't matter like who they have to end up being, as long as they're not forgotten. They'll even be the villain if they have to. If it means that at the very least they're remembered, that they mattered in history. Even if it was for good, even if it was for bad, they were acknowledged and mattered. And that's a case that Calypso finds herself in. Always forgotten, always avoided. She just wants to matter. It doesn't matter how she's used, as long as she matters, that's all that matters to her. God only knows how many times she's been used for nothing more than a cheap accessory, or worse, an item. Well, poor girl. Still weird though that Doyle mentioned the thing about remembering her, Mirabelle bringing up the religious texts. I guess that happened in the prison ground or something like that. I mean, I don't know. Or maybe he was making a bad analogy, I don't know. And Calypso with the gas station Gishki in this thing. Interesting. Well, I guess just because they're passive doesn't mean they forget every single thing. I mean, maybe one or two memories still stick, you know. I mean, even when they do the amnesia plots and stories, like, I can't remember a single thing. Well, your breathing and eating is perfectly fine, so you clearly remember some things. I know what they mean by that, but just like, I have amnesia. No. I mean, kinda, but no. Anyway, yeah, that's, you know, that poor girls. They've gone through tough lives. But at least they're still standing here with us, even if it comes at the other side. I did how much you want to bet, though, they're going to go the whole tsundere route, though? You are so not my type. It's not like I like you or anything, Babaka. Time will tell that tale. We'll leave it at that. But for right now, at the very least, they can be friends. Anyway, let's get on with the Swamp's Edge, ruins of a forgotten chapel. There's a church in the swamp? Ay, ay, ay. Not the most unrealistic thing I've ever heard, but still like, what? Whatever. The wind changed, not direction, age. As the trio pushed through a curtain of moss and hanging roots, the air grew older. Doyle was the first to see it. You've gotta be kidding me! I'm glad I'm not the only one. The trees opened in a clearing where the skeletal remains of a church stood. Stone walls half sunken into the mire, roof long since caved in, stained glass windows shattered and crawling with vines. Its steeple was slumped sideways, and there, dead center what used to be a sanctuary floor, two dual discs were activated. Or active. Spooky wrote this. Oh, overly explaining? Gotta be spooked. But hey, at least they're setting up the atmosphere, you know, just being like, and then they arrived at a church. I mean, they could have done that, but, you know, at least they're trying to, like, give an image. Brenna stood up. Mercury faced her. Not Isa. No, not Issa. Issa was gone. While Remain stood tall, stiffer, his armor ridged with new edges and deep scarring from internal overload. His masked 6 eyes spun. The heraldry crest spiraled behind him, warping slowly like a sun caught in a black hole. None of them moved. A standoff. The trio froze at the edge of the clearing. They're dueling, Doyle whispered. Looks like it, Calypso murmured. But if this goes wrong... He'll destroy her, Maribel finished flatly. Brenna's voice broke the silence. I'm not gonna hurt you, you know. She didn't look back. She knew where they were. She knew they were there. Her voice was soft. But if I run again, he'll never stop. Mercury's voice hissed like gas through metal. Threat vector identified. Biotic patterns inconsistent with human baselines. Identify obfuscated. I'm not hiding, she said. Her grin didn't reach her eyes. I'm just complicated. Mercury took a step forward. The stained glass around him cracked. His aura pulsed like a heartbeat coming from the wrong direction. You are not organic. Composite signatures suggest artificial chronology. Temporal infractures detected. This made Brenna flinch. Just slightly. She bit down the inside of her cheek. Her left hand twitched nervous reflexively, the way someone might reach for a gun. You're smarter than this, she said softly. Scary, but smart. Mercury didn't respond. Oh, sorry, you're smarter like this. Scary, but smart. Yeah. Brenna exhaled. Okay, fine. You want data? She locked eyes with him for once. And for once, didn't smile. I'm not from here. Not this moment. Not your swamp. Not your prison. Not even your century. I've walked across failing empires and through time quakes that erased cities mid-sentence. Her hand hovered over her deck. I'm not just some silly swamp girl with a conspiracy blog. I'm the swamp girl with a conspiracy blog. Calypso stiffened. Doyle leaned forward. Mirror's eyes narrowed. Brenna's voice dropped to a hush. I'm a lore keeper. Silence. And after the last episode, after we saw the last with Althea, crap, that's a nuke drop. The whole I'm a conspiracy nut who just saying wacky stuff, it ain't just a conspiracy theorist spouting whack stuff. Remember, the true conspiracy theory and cold hard fact is about 3 weeks. Anytime she's speaking to Mumbo Jumbo, it's experience, not I'm pulling stuff out of my ass. God. That's one hell of a lore drop. All of this has been a facade. Well, maybe, or at least most of it has. Maybe there's like some percentage that was, I don't know, legit. I mean, the best lies are told with a hint of truth. God. The hell is a time quake? I guess an earthquake, but with time. Meh. Anyway, after that bomb drops, silence. Then Mercury's head twitched. The heraldry crest behind him spun violently for a second, flickering, then stabilized. His voice came cold, mechanical. Lorekeeper. Anomalous designation. Data class, threat. Temporal anchors, compromise. Threat level, escalating. Yeah, she whispered. That's what they all say. Brenna didn't draw just yet. She stood there, fingers hovering over her deck, like she was listening for music. No one else could hear. The moment stretched. Mercury didn't move. His aura had begun to shimmer with interference. Fractured light cascading off of him like glass dipped in oil. You are unstable, he said, voice clicking from vocal registers. A temporal analogy with active chronosignatures. Unverified, unanchored, dangerous. Brenna tilted her head and offered a lopsided smile. Though her eyes were still locked. Calculating. Yeah, I've been called worse. Calypso narrowed her eyes from the sidelines. She's stalling. Doyle raised a brow. She's confessing to temporal terrorism and brushing off like it's normal. I am not! Brenna shouted without looking. This is a measured response of being hunted by a glitchy, emotionless sentinel with 6 eyes and a superiority complex. Mercury twitched. I am not glitching, he said coldly. I am resolving. Didn't argue with any of the other ones, though. Brenna's smile faded again. Same difference. Doyle stepped forward a half step, flicking between the two. Okay, sorry. Back up. What the heck's a lore keeper? And why didn't you say it like you? And why did you say it like you were about to sprout wings and quote riddles like a sphinx? Lore keeper, Calypso echoed, arms crossed. Sounds like a librarian with delusions of grandeur. Oh, we are, Calypso chirped, turning just slightly to glance at them. That's not an answer, Doyle said. Correct, Brenna beamed. It's an evasion, Calypso groaned. Of course it is. How are we getting so many answers and it's so few at the same time? Outcome of every answer is linked to 2 more questions. Now, at least we're getting more character stuff, though. We're not getting a lot of lore, but we are getting a lot of character. Though there is some lore, too. That's not like they're being completely lost. But hey, if you don't care about the characters, why the hell would you care about the lore? Eh. Anyway. Calypso groaned. Of course it is. Mirabelle groaned. Mirabelle, however, was watching closely. Her expression hadn't changed much, but something in her eyes had gone quiet, sharp. She spoke evenly. Lore keepers were a myth. Temporal fixers, archivists from timelines that never happened, supposedly immortal, supposedly extinct. Brenna's smile twitched. She looked over her shoulder and gave Mirabelle a long look. You say that like you've met one. Mirabelle didn't blink. No. Mirabelle tilted her head. Are you sure? That landed like a rock in a still pond. Doyle looked between them. Okay, so just for my sanity, are we saying Brenna's been time-hopping across failed timelines as whatever the heck a lore keeper is? More or less, Brenna said brightly. Mercury surged a step forward. Clarify designation, he snapped. Confirm purpose. What are you preserving? What did you alter? Brenna's eyes sharpened, and just like that, the playfulness slipped in. Just a little. I don't alter things, she said. Not unless I have to. Another second passed. From the edge of the clearing, Calypso exhaled. Mirabelle didn't speak, just watched, still attentive. Brenna hadn't drawn a single card. She exhaled slowly, hand hovering above her deck like she was remembering something long ago. You know, she said aloud, voice oddly soft, this isn't even the first time I've had to stare down someone I didn't care about. I had to stare down someone I cared about while they were trying to disintegrate me. Doyle from the sidelines tilted his head. Wait, what? Brenna didn't look at him. Her eyes fluttered over her deck's top, but didn't dry yet. There was this one time, Gulliver... That name again, crap. Gulliver and I were trapped on a broken reality shard drifting through a temporal lobe to a temporal fracture. Everything was upside down. Literally. Gravity was a suggestion, and Bradford had rewired the local clock field to erase guilt. She said like it was explained everything. Who the hell is Gulliver? Calypso asked. Oh, another lore keeper, Brenna said brightly. We traveled together for a while. Lovely trench coat, absolute menace at karaoke. Big fan of rooftops and talking very quietly at villains who really just needed some therapy. Isn't that just Keeper from Pokemon? Or it might be the trench coat that makes me think that way. Again, they are lore keepers. No, not Keeper from Pokemon. Looker, that's his name. I got the name mixed up. I knew it was like Looker, Watcher, Keeper. It was something like that. Something descript, but also not. Anyway, Doyle held a hand up. Hang on. Wait, what? And Bradford, Brenna sighed. He used to be one of us too. Took a wrong turn. Replaced his soul with ambition and greed. That man could weaponize ego. Once crashed a century just to make a point. Calypso blinked. He's not... that's not a normal sentence. I don't know, people do a lot of things to prove a point. Oh, and then there was the Game Master, Brenna added, like remembering an old acquaintance. We fought her in a paradox loop modeled after a children's game show. Every time you lost a round, you lost a decade. I forgot algebra for like 3 hours. It was wild. Then Mirabelle stepped in like, I can help with that! Doyle was just staring now. You're making this up! Am I? Brenna asked sweetly. Because there was also the Cyber Silica Directive, or I guess they would call themselves the Mech Lords. Clockwork machines with hive mind implants try to convert an entire dimension into robots. Calypso blinked once. You realize none of that makes sense, right? Oh, Brenna lit up. I didn't even tell you about the mannequins. Gun hands, no face, terrible fashion sense. Chased us through an entire interdimensional shopping mall for 4 days. Isn't that just SCP-3008 IKEA? I mean, I think some of this have to come from somewhere. I like how they addressed the Mechlord thing. I think that's a reference to the 5D's potential future. Sort of. I mean, they didn't try to turn everyone into robots, so it's kind of that, but also not. It's its own thing at the same time, you know. It's a reference. It's not the exact thing, you know? Doyle slowly turned to Calypso. Are we sure she's not a deeply committed theater kid with access to recreational psychics? I'd stop being sure of anything with her, Calypso muttered. Mirabelle said nothing, just watched, and out every name away. Gulliver, Bradford, Cyber Silica, even the Game Master? Threats, partner, patterns, names from old chronographs. Back in the clearing, Brenna finally drew her opening hand. Anyway, she said, grinning as if none of what she said required explanation, let's get on with it. Mirabelle Mercury raised his daughters. Opening protocol. Initiated. Let's dance, time cop. Weird name for it, but interesting lore dump with Brenna. That was one hell of a freaking drop. Just like the conspiracy theories. I kind of want to know more about her alternate timelines. Alternate timelines are one of those things that always interests me. Like, I know we've gone into multiverse done to death sort of things, but I don't know. There's something about an alternate timeline that always interests me at least a little bit, you know? Not a multiverse specifically, just like what could have been, I guess. I don't know. I classify them differently in my head, but they just so I don't get fatigued of multiverses. But that's me. I don't know. Not gonna lie though, a part of me was thinking like, okay, when do we get to the duel? But a part of me was also like, can we not do the duel though? I kind of want to hear more story. But you know, it's a good show of writing in a Yu-Gi-Oh show where I'm kind of like, but why are you giving me Yu-Gi-Oh? I'm just gonna take a quick pause. Turn 1, Brenna's turn. Both duelists have 8,000 life points. Allow me to start things off, Brenna shouted as she drew her starting hand. She gazed at her grip of insects, already formulating potential plays. Then a line became clear to her. I'll start this duel by activating the effect of the Battle Wasp Raper the Onslaught. Rappy. The Onslaught. I don't know, that word's just one of those just like, I don't know how I can say that one. Whatever. The Whimsical Wasp will let me discard another insect, especially something that and place in Battle Wasp Wing from my deck into the spell and trap zone. As Brenna discard a copy of Resonance Insect, Doyle raised a brow. So it's not just Ragnaroki's. Mirabelle shook her head rather disapprovingly. Making appear a Ragnaraki deck is like eating the drink mixed powder and expecting your saliva will suffice. How would you know what that's like, Mary? Calypso asked. Concerned, Mirabelle simply returned her attention to the duel briefly, looking back at Calypso, softly blushing. That said it all. Sometimes you gotta learn the hard way. Now my Battle Wasp Winds effect activates. Brennan proceeded to flip through her deck feverishly. When I summon a Battle Wasp, I can search another one with lower attack from my deck to my hand. And now that I think of it like a black whirlwind, but for bugs. Rapier has 1900 attack points, so I will add Twin Bow, whose attack is 1000. Next I shall use my normal summon. For Battle Wasp, Sting the Poison! On summon, he lets me search a Battle Wasp, and Wind triggers again. It's twice as nice, and lets me search twice per turn. Mercury fired up, plucking a single card out of his hand and slamming it into the graveyard slot of his daughters. Chain! Effect Dealer! This targets and negates your Battle Wasp search effect. Only your win will resolve here, anomaly. Brenna briefly mock-pouted. Still have those hand traps glued in your hand, but rather than let the moon slots get a hold of them. I have heard that the writing for Brenna is kind of based off of a clip from The Whitest Boys You Know of moon bears attacking. If you've ever seen the clip about moon bears from Whitest Boys You Know, check it out. It's pretty comedy gold. And the moon bears are attacking thanks to the help of the Wizard Alliances. Wizard Alliances! Okay, let's go with the story. I just want to do that little bit. Anyway, whenever I can play through lousy effect I can play through a lousy effect rather. Mercury, I have a chainable effects too. I'll chain with my B-Trooper Scale Bomber in my hand, summoning it since an insect was summoned. The chain was then resolved. Scale Bomber summoned itself, fail negated Sting, and Wind let Brenna search. I'll add Battle Wasp Pin the Bullseye. Wonder how many bug decks Brenna got cramped into one there. This hybrid's actually pretty sick. Doyle commented, starting to appreciate Brenna's deck. Calypso smirked at Doyle's observation. Glad you can see I have some taste. Glad to see you have some taste, as Doyle blushed and scratched the back of his head due to Calypso's statement. Brenna proceeded with her combo. Now I perform a Link Summon. The summoning conditions is 2 insect monsters, Offset Sting the Poison and Scale Bomber. I form the Circuit of the Hive. The summoning conditions require... Man, this whole thing is gonna be lame to repeat, huh? I'll just skip to the juicy bits, thank you. Link Summon, Link 2, Insector Picophalia. And this monster has a very unique effect. I can discard a card to equip an insect from my deck, or another one on my hand. Or another one. Take 2. I can discard a card to equip an insect from my deck to another one on my field. I'll discard Twin Bow to equip Goki Pole to my rapier. Mercury scoffed. Goki Pole will trigger when rapier is used for link material, adjusting projected end board accordingly. I did kind of like that little. I just remember I did kind of like that bit from Calypso, just like, I want people to see me for my beauty. Yeah, what I see is more of my beauty. Ew. What the hell is wrong with you? She's not used to that sort of treatment of people caring about her as a person. Doesn't know how to take it. Kind of reminds me of Kill a Mockingbird with the trial scene. Someone treated her with the woman on... someone treated one of the... Someone was treated with... okay. The daughter was treated with actual respect and decency as a human being, and she thought she was being persecuted. Because when you've been given nothing but insults your entire life, a compliment sounds weird and foreign. Anyway, let's focus on the duel now. Keep your examinations to yourself. Chrome Dome, your 6 eyes already... Keep your examinations to yourself, Chrome Dome. Your 6 eyes always creeps the hell out of me. Regardless, I'll rebuild the circuit. This time with Rapier and Picophalia. Link Summon, Link 3, Ragnaraki, Mantis Monk. Since the Goki Pole equipped with my Rapier went to the graveyard, I can add a level 4 insect to my hand, such as a Bee Trooper Assault Roller. And my Mantis Monk has a very neat effect as well. I can banish 2 monsters that are insect, reptiles, and or plants from my deck and add them to Ragnaraki trap card and add a Ragnaraki trap to my hand. So I'll banish 2 reptiles. How? Doyle shouted from the top of his lungs before Calypso slammed a hand over his mouth, shutting him up. Kidding, Brenda giggled. I'll banish Battle Wasp, Rapier, and Twin Bow to add Ragnaraki Hunting Dance. Miro jotted down some notes regarding the Ragnarakis. Okay, so far she has Battle Wasp, Bee Troopers, and of course Ragnarakis. Ragnarikas? Yeah, whatever. With a touch of Insectors too? What else could she have in store? Calypso pondered for a moment. If she summons perfectly ultimate Great Moth, I'm walking. No. Despite being friends of it for ages, I still have yet to fully figure that out myself. I now use the effect of Battle Wasp, Pin the Bullseye, special summoning it since I have an insect, Brand continued. And I'll follow that up with Bee Trooper Assault Roller by banishing Sting the Poison from my graveyard. Now, we've got ourselves another Link Summon coming up, this time featuring Roller and Pin, but we're not just cooking up any ordinary Link 2, we've got ourselves a Link 2 Bee Trooper Armor Horn! And this mobile unit has a very potent effect, letting me normal summon an insect straight from away. So I'll play Resonance Insect. I can't escape Bee Troopers, man. This is getting out of hand now. Abort! Abort! This isn't intentional, it's just weird that it keeps happening. Mercury's eyed the insect with disdain. Can I expect your turn to conclude in the foreseeable future? Mirabo smirked. Have a little patience, Soda Can. I have another Link Summon to do. This time I'll use Mantis Monk and Armor Horn. Take time for the big one. The big one? Doyle pondered aloud. Get ready for Giant Bee Trooper Invincible Atlas! And he's not coming alone, as he contributed insect to either summon a Bee Trooper from the deck or gain 2,000 attack points for an erect Resonant Insect offer dual disc monster slot into the graveyard. And I choose the former. So goodbye, Resonance Insect, and hello, Bee Trooper Sting Lancer. Now I have a few chain links here. First, Sting Lancer will add a Bee Trooper spell or trap. Then, Resonant Insect will let me add a level 5 or higher insect. I'll grab a second Sting Lancer with Resonance, and Bee Trooper Fly and Sting with Lancer. I'll end my turn there by saying 2 cards face down, and then I'll use Mantis Monk in my graveyard. By shuffling Sting Lancer back into my deck, I retrieve Mantis Monk. That won my turn. Your move, Mercury. Nice move. That was legitimately good, no comment. A lot of bugs in there. Alright, Mercury's turn. The life points are still at full. Mercury drew his opening hand with a robotic yet fierce grip. He eyed his card for him with all 6 of his mask illuminating eyes. so each eye looking at a singular card. I start my turn with Pot of Prosperity. I banish 6 cards from extra deck face down. Now excavate the top 6 cards in my deck, then add one of them to my hand. For the rest of the turn, however, you only take half damage. As the droid began to fan through his extra deck, Mirabelle took a note of that card. That and he can't draw by card effect for the remainder of the turn. That may not be too bad then, Toyo cheerfully noted. Think again, Campbell. Remember what deck our mutual friend there plays, Calypso reminded him, devoid of her usual charisma. All he needs is one good starter card, and his plays can start looking like one of them hydrogen explosions. Brenna took heed and started staring intently at the top of Mercury's deck. Ryzeo Plasma Hole, 7th Ascension, X Ryzeo, another copy of Prosperity, Ryzeo Mass Driver, and Ice Ryzeo. Well, food, Brenna puffed. Looks like you only would have needed to banish all 3. Looks like you would have only needed to banish 3 after all. Mercury let out a mechanical laugh. My choice is X Ryzeo, which I immediately summoned. I do this by sending an Xyz monster from my extra deck straight to the graveyard. So number 18, be gone! And X-ray, so my choice. X-ray, so its effect goes off, and so does Heraldry Patriarchs. And here comes the Heraldry plays. Brenna thought to herself, gritting her teeth. I knew that his number was influencing him, but not too secure access to it. I knew his number was influencing him, but not to secure access to his beast that quickly. Not seen anything like that since the Neptune Squid Turf War. They look like they were really having fun, though. Oh my god, but gosh, so much multicolored ink. I like their idol groups, though. Doyle groaned. What the hell is she even talking about? Calypso rubbed her temples. You mean to tell me there's humanoid squids on the planet Neptune, and they have idol groups? Brenna, do you ever know when too much is too much? Mirabelle sighed. At this point, I started believing her. This stuff being a little too specific. So this, I would like to see this movie just because I want to see it basically be War of the Worlds, but with these Neptune creatures instead. I mean, the name War of the Worlds is vague enough that it could totally switch Martians to Neptunians, and I don't think anyone would notice. I sent Erotic Beast Leo and Stad Whale off of Patriarch. Then I'll add Sword Ryzeo from deck to hand. Since it is a Fire Thunder monster, Leo triggers on a new chain. Let me add another Stad Whale to my hand. Mercury segued into the next path of combos. Well, like the well-oiled machine he was, I put summon Sword Ryzeo since there is a Ryzeo in the field or in the grave. Then on summon, Sword adds Light Pyro monster with Star Ryzeo. Now I construct the overlay network using Sword and X Ryzeo. Xyz summon, rank 4, Ryzeo Detonator. The fearsome machine flared to life, leaving Doyle in shambles. There's that thing again! I swear that thing was made for Mercury, he quipped. Detonator's effect goes off on summon. I attach number 18 onto it from the graveyard. Mercury continued. Now Detonator. Attack Invincible Atlas. Combustion Resolute. Combustion Revoked. Calypso was quick to observe something. Normally there would be a push since they both have 3,000 sack points, but then Detonator's effect will kick in and protect itself. Detonator, protect yourself by detaching number 18, Mercury ordered. Then this will let me use its effect once more. Not this time, Buster, Brenna said. I chain with a counter trap Beef Trooper Flying Sting. Since my trusty little Atlas is about to be slain, his last stand before his demise will be to negate the activation of your Patriarch. And, if it were on the field, destroy it. But regardless, Mercury scoffed at Brenna's play. Another threat neutralized. Proceed to main phase 2. Specimen Star Ryzeo by detaching Sword from Detonator. Star goes off, letting me set Ryzeo plugin from my deck. Next I use Erotic Beast Griffin from my hand, sending a copy of Leo from my deck to the graveyard. Brenna responded instantaneously. Alright, and letting you get another search? Not a chance. Go, Sting Lancer! I can summon him from my hand by targeting and shuffling a monster from each of our graves back into our deck. I pick Atlas and you're Leo. Detonator is now permitted to trigger. By using its remaining material, I can destroy your Battle Wasp Wind. A wild smirk starts across Britta's face, and your detonator will be the next to go. Chain Ragnariki Hunting Dance! Since Mantis Monk is on my field, this nifty trap card turns the tables on your detonator and destroy it! No! Mercury shouted in despair. He watched in horror as his detonator was destroyed, and both Sting Lancer and Griffin were summoned. So I guess they'll probably be more like, no! Alexander! And furthermore, Sting Lancer on summon will destroy my handy-dandy field spell, Beetrooper Formation. Brenna said, having turned the tables around. Mercury's eyes dimmed momentarily, then they all flickered back to life. Backup line established. Brenna grimaced. Of course. Should have expected that much from the vengeful robots. Normal summon Stadwhale. That I use its effect. Discarding a card to search 2 heraldry spell or trap cards. I search Advanced Heraldry Art and Flash of Heraldry. Now I once again construct the overlay network. Appear number 69. Heraldry Crest! Doyle winced at the sight of that number. That's the Mercury behind the Mercury. I was going to say something in with that, but I lost it. Sometimes the fun doesn't work out. Number 69 will activate its mandatory effect to negate all Xyz on the field, which will matter not, Mercury explained. Next to activate Advanced Heraldry Art. This lets me bring back 2 Heraldic Beasts and immediately exceed summon using them. I bring back a copy of Leo and Stadwhale. Then I construct the overlay network. Exceed summon, rank 4, Rizio Duo Driver. Mirabelle recalled that card from Doyle's earlier duel. That's going to search even more cards for Mercury. Correct, Mercury affirmed. But not now. But not before it attaches another Rizio from my graveyard to itself. Become one with Duo Drive, my fallen detonator. Then I detach it and Stadwhale with Duo Drive's effect to add Rizio Cross and Mass Driver to my hand. I activate Rizio Cross, then set 3 cards, and it's your turn, Temporal Anomaly. Brenna's turn, still both at 8,000 life points. Brenna drew for turn. Mercury had an effect ready. I will activate the quick play spell Rizio Plugin. This will revive Detonator and attach a Rizio card from my deck to it, like Rizio Plasma Hole. There goes the overgrown gas generator again! Doyle shrieked as he clutched his beanie. Mercury attached Heraldry Patriarch to Detonator per its effect. Brenna proceeded to begin her turn. Gonna bring this back, eh? Well, time to take out a page of your book. Brenna said as she placed a hand on her chest, eyes brimming with feverish excitement. I too think some plays are so nice that you can do them twice. I build the circuit with Sting Lancer and Mantis Monk. Link summon the one, the only, Giant Beetrooper, Invincible Atlas! And now he may have a city on his back, but he's no beetle with a village. But no beetle is a village. Doyle burst out laughing at the pun. Calypso let out a small chuckle. Brenna continued. Let's call in the cavalry, shall we? Go, Beetrooper Formation! Your cavalry shall fall. Go, Rizio Detonator, detaching 18 to destroy your field spell. Mercury commanded. And since Patriarch took another trip to the graveyard, he can send 2 more heraldic beasts to join them, Brennan said, thoroughly annoyed. Mercury scoffed as he sent heraldic beast Leo and Twin Eagle. Leo lets me add another Griffin to my hand. It's cool to see heraldics get support, legitimately, no joke there, just good to see they got more cards at the end. And a new form for their 69 to match the anime a bit more, too. It's cool. Anyway, Brenna crackled a toothy grin. What is it you said last time, Mercury? Brenna pulled out a set of papers out of nowhere and skimmed them, even pulling out a pair of reading glasses. Oh, wait, I can't read. Mirabelle looked at Doyle and Calypso in confusion, both of whom were shrugged off. Ah, yes, now I remember. Bait taken. Because now, wait a minute, did she pull out the script? Did she just pull out the script on it? She just read 2 chapters ago. Ah, screw your 4th wall. I'm a lore keeper. I am the 4th wall. Anyway, bait taken, because now I use Beetrooper Armor and Horns effect in my graveyard. I banish 3 insects to revive it. And I pick Assault Roller, Pin the Bullseye, and Goki Pole. And with its new friend, Atlas can return Horn to my graveyard by tributing it to accomplish nothing. On resolution of your Atlas's effect, I use Rizio Cross, detaching one of Detonator's material. Your Atlas's effects are null and void. But will its What will its attack be? Go Atlas! Take out that number! Brina shouted. That was followed by a low mechanical laugh from Mercury. Reveal face down card! Rank up magic, quick chaos! Everybody was taken aback. Mercury's yellow eyes began to glow even brighter than before. A torrent of chaos energy swirled around him, which was released. Hit the deck! Mirabelle shouted. The rest of the pathlet stuck behind rubble as the energy wave passed over them. Meadow twists and turns into a creature of unfathomable horror. Melts away and turns to a golden avatar of their demise. Chaos exceeds evolution! Appeared. Chaos number 69. Heraldry crest of horror! The daunting creature towered over the churned ruins. Brandon looked away as the chaos number and the very little concern. So, Mercury, you decided to show your true form, huh? It suits you. His little Star Fox reference. As does a little reference just now. Shut up. Anyway, since the chaos number can nuke my board if I attack, I'll call it off then. Onto my second main phase, 2. I apologize. On to my main phase 2. Move then. Go. Armored Rebellion. I summon insect with 1000 attack from my hand or deck. I summon Resonance Insect from my deck. But then I have to send a monster from my field to the graveyard. So the Resonance I summon will have to resonate with other bugs there. Mercury computed the strategy. Resonance will let you add a level 5 or higher insect then. Brandon nodded. I picked my Bureaugram, Shield Emperor of the Forest Crown. I'll then summon him by banishing 3 insects in my graveyard. Go, my place of resonant insects, and now all three of my resonant insects effects trigger. I now get to send 3 insects from my deck to the grave. Brandon let out Lucy Gigi, the almost maniacal laugh. She was clearly enjoying this. Oh, gods. I'll send, let's see, Gokipole, Ragnarika Wicked Butterfly, and how about Heavy Bee Trooper Mighty Neptune? And since Gokipole was sent, I get to grab another Bee Trooper. Aeroblast the Rapid Fire this time. Doyle pondered Brenna's play. Is all this searching and dumping going anywhere? Mirabelle shot Doyle a look. Are you kidding me? The Beargram is her ticket to victory here. Indeed, because Beargram will now wipe the field of all your monsters. No! Nah! Mercury watched in horror as Heraldry Crest of Horror was wiped out in a massive flurry of leaves. Leaves of all things. Back to square one, are we? Brenna asked, being rather cheeky. Well, you're gonna have to take down a different despot. I once again League Summon using Atlas and Bearagram. The budding calamity brings forth a chaotic order. Only the strongest shall have dominion over the chaos. Unsheath the earthen blade and establish yourself as the ruler of calamity. Link Summon. Link 5. Appear from the hive. Ragnarika, stand sovereign. I end my turn. I have a few plays in the end phase. First, I use Bee Trooper Fly Instinct in my graveyard. I banish all insects to set itself back into the field. And since I have one with 3,000 or more attack points, I banish Ragnariki Wicked Butterfly. Then use her effect which will trigger, letting me draw another card for each monster type I have on the field among insect, plants, or reptiles. So I draw one itsy bitsy little card. Your move! Grabbing the butterfly makes more sense considering she can cause the butterfly effect thing, especially given the Lorekeeper lore drop. Anyway, on to Mercury's turn, both up to 8,000 life points still. Do not condescend myself or my others. Or my user, Mercury coldly demanded. I never said anything about Issa, I said it about you. Mercury coldly demanded. I activate the effect of Stadway on my graveyard. By banishing it, I can revive 2 copies with the same Herodic monster of the same Herodic Beast. Return to the field 2 copies of Herodic Beast Leo. They will now be joined with my Herodic Beast Griffin, who I special summoned by sending the 3rd and final Leo from my deck to the graveyard. I will use them to search another copy of Stadwale. Next, I will overlay Griffin with my Leos for Exceed Summon. Come out, number 69, Heraldry Crest, Shatter Stream. Calypso raised an eyebrow. Going straight to the evolved form. Does it need 4 materials? It's Griffin's doing, Mirabelle noted. Griffin counts as 2 materials for a number that requires 3 or more. I'm glad they're kind of bringing in the whole it counts as 2 materials thing. Obviously, you don't want to do it with basic monsters because then it just kind of beats the purpose of link summoning. But if it's under like certain circumstances where it's like locked and all that stuff, it's fine. Oy. Not on my watch. Go, Stag Sovereign. Use your effects to pop 2 monsters on the field since a monster was used from the deck or the extra deck. Mercury laughed a wicked laugh. Well, since it will be leaving anyway, I changed Stratostream's effect. I can evolve it, then destroy your Sovereign. Brenna gasped. Wait, that includes monster effects too? Indeed. Now, Xyz Evolution. Come forward, number 69. Heraldry Crest, Dark Matter Demolition. Good thing I have my failsafe then. Go, Ragnarika Hunting Dance. When insect, plant, or reptile I control is destroyed, I get advantage to destroy one of your monsters. Get rid of that golden eyesore. You really should pay more attention, Anomaly. Dark matter cannot be destroyed by any means. Ah, crumbs. Mercury raised a hand to the sky, glowing alongside his numbers. Dark matter demolition. Attack this mistake directly. Brenna's life points get dropped to 4,900. I end my turn. Finally, someone makes contact. Although it's Mercury, so this is bad. My move then, Brenna stated as she drew. I supposed to summon Ragnarika the Evil Seed from my hand. I can do this by sending an insect, plant, or reptile monster from my hand to the graveyard. I'll send this one, she said as she sent Crawler Spine to the grave. Now I'll use the effect to search 2 Ragnarika cards, then banish another card from my hand. Mercury was ready to strike. I chain the quick play spell Flash of Heraldry. This removes your seed's name. Then Dark Matter when negates its activated effects. Well then, in that case, I normal summon Battle Wasp, Aeroblast the Rapid Fire. His effect revives Gokipole from my graveyard. Now I link summon using Seed and Gokipole. Link summon link 2, Ragnarika Skeletal Soldier. Then Gokipole's effect triggers to let me search for a level 4 or lower insect. A level 4 insect. Chain Demolition's effect. By using one overlay unit, I can change Skeletal Soldier's name to unknown. You're no fun, Mirabo said. Brenna said, sticking out her tongue. At least I can add Praying Mantis to my hand. I will search as well, since Leo was attached from my number. I'll add another copy of Griffin. Brenna grew frustrated. Alrighty then, you're like negating activated effects, huh? Try a continuous one on for size. I link Soldier and Aeroblast for another link summon. Go, Shinobi Insect Hagi Kugamaru. I'm gonna call him Hagi. Yeah. Then I'll banish 3 more insect monsters to revive Beargram. And she did banishing Aeroblast, Scale Bomber, and Evil Seed. Now Beargram, let's play the waiting game. I'll whistle down your life points if it takes until Pluto. I'll whistle down your life points until Pluto's a planet again. Attack his number. Mercury takes 300 damage. Turn end. Brenna said. It's Mercury's turn. Brenna has 4,900 life points. Mercury has 7,700. Turn start. Mercury fiercely stated as he drew. I normal summon Stab Whale, then use its effect. I discard a card to add 2 Heraldic Spells of Trust to my hand. I add Charge Up Heraldry and Heraldry Board. Doe grit in his teeth. Here we go again. I send Aberconway from my deck to the graveyard to summon Griffin. Then I will now overlay Griffin and Whale to make number 100. I like this guy. I like him a lot. New favorite character. Move aside, Doyle. I exceed summon. This will make number 105. Battling Boxer Star Cestus. Now we'll attack your Shinobi. As Cestus went to attack, Shinobi vanished with a flurry of leaves. Explain! Mercury stayed. Gladly, Brenna said way too cheerfully. That's Hagi's effect. It cannot be targeted for attack while it points to a monster. The paths took a collective breath. Brenna had a lock on that Mercury's number could not touch. But this relief was short-lived. Very well. Backup plan established. Now 105 will attack Beargram. And Sisters could detach a material to negate Beargram and make Brenna take damage from the fight. Not good, Maribel said through her teeth. Brenna's life points dropped to 4,000. That attack hit Brenna especially hard. She fell to her knees and Mercury glanced at her. I end my turn. Flash of Heraldry goes off at the end phase. Letting me set it since I have a Psychic Xyz monster on my field. This is bad, Calypso noticed. Cestus will do more damage over time to Brenna so she can get... Cestus will do more damage over time to Brenna than she can do back to Mercury. This means that she's going to be very behind in the game, in the life point. This means that she's going to be very behind in the life point game. Brenna's turn. My move, Brenna stated weakly, drawing a card. I will attempt to use Battleground once more. I chain my set card, Flash of Heraldry. Now both of your monsters lose their name, which means Dark Matter Demolition will negate their activated effects. That still doesn't matter. That still doesn't out my luck with my Shinobi Insect. And it also doesn't stop me from whittling down your life points. Go, Battleground! Attack the number again! Ruger scoffed as he took damage, down to 7,400 life points. Brenna had stopped for a few seconds to catch her breath. Go! Very well then. I will once more attack Battleground with 105. This lets me use the effect to redirect the damage to you. That's all I have for now. Brenna's life points have been on 3,100. It's Brenna's turn. Can't do much in this sort of field, so it's one of those where just like Amber's kind of passing more or less with the extra flair. Brenna drew for turn, and it was a card that she needed. Yes! Activate Ragnarika Bloom! Then immediately activates effect. I discard Interrupted Kaiju Slumber to the graveyard to add Ragnarika Evil Seed to my hand. Mercury's robotic breath hitched as she saw the discarded card. Slumber can search a Kaiju on the following effect by banishing it. Yeppers, I need to hold out until then. I can special summon the Evil Seed I just added. Special summoning it by discarding Praying Mantis from my hand. Now I'll use its effect to search. Oh, sorry. I cannot allow such a boon. I chain Dark Matter Demolition's effect. Detaching material change Evil Seed's name to unknown. Mercury said in reply. Furthermore, I detached Leo, which lets me add a second copy of Erotic Beast Aberconway to my hand. Brina nodded. Not smiling at all, she clutched her side after a brief bout of pain struck. I'll shuffle Seed back into the deck to revive Stag Sovereign with its effect. By the way, I forgot to mention, Bloom has another effect. It makes all my insect-planted reptile monsters gain 300 attack and defense points, while your monsters all lose 300 attack and defense points. So that means my Battleground will be attacking your number, and Sovereign will attack 105. Mercury goes down to 6,500 life points, then 5,100. I take it by the fact that you searched Aberconway that you're low on fuel in the tank, Buster. What will it be? Brenna remarked as she passed him over to his turn. Brenna's at 3,100 life points, and Mercury's at 5,100. Mercury was put in a familiar spot again. Brenna was correct. He was one turn away from defeat. He had no alternative. I switched Dark Matter to defense mode and ended my turn. He discarded a copy of Aberconway during the end phase. He had too many cards in hand. So many cards in hand, yet they're all bricks. You couldn't even put that Aberconway into defense mode just to add a little extra protection. Whatever. Brenna breathing heavily drew return. This was it. I activated the effect of the Kaiju Slumber in my graveyard. I banished it, add Kumungus, the sticky string Kaiju to my hand. Now I attribute your number to summon it to your field. As Mercury witnessed his other self vanish, he began to act erratically. Failure to protect the host. Imminent. Must eliminate all who threaten and hit the host. Brenna planted from exhaustion. Broke through it. Mercury, the stage is set for your exit. I use Ragnarika Bloom's effect to summon Wicked Butterfly from my banishment. Now I'll use the effect of my remaining 2 Ragnarika Link monsters in the graveyard, shuffling back the monsters on my field to summon them back. She shuffled back her Shinobi Insect to summon Mantis Monk and Wicked Butterfly to summon Skeletal Soldier. Now Battleground attacks Kumungus, then Stag Sovereign and Mantis Monk. Conclude this duel! Mercury's life points dropped to 4,100, then 500, and then 0. Brenna wins. Good for her. Although now Mercury just keeps getting his ass handed to him. Not a good record. Whatever, he'll probably get the next one and get his win back. The clearing fell into a heavy silence, the kind you get after a thunderclap, save for the chorus of crickets and frogs in the nearby swamp, obliviously oblivious to the showdown that had just gone down. The magic residue glimmered faintly in the rain-soaked grass. In the rain-soaked grass. The last traces of power fading from both dual discs. Brenna remained on her knees, hunched forward, not from weakness, but from pure adrenaline. Her adrenaline was giving out, so that's how she was able to, falling over. Not just, it was more exhaustion from the adrenaline rather than exhaustion from general. I mean, let's kind of think like, why is she getting so exhausted? The adrenaline's dying out. It's not a permanent thing. Sorry. Anyway, Brenna remained on her. Oh, I just said it already. She pressed a shaking hand against Issa's, letting him know without words that he's not alone. Issa tightened his grip in return, reluctantly weak but alive. Doyle fell back on his heels and exhaled a shaky breath, the first proper one in minutes. He turned his gaze towards Calypso, who knelt over Issa, already focusing. That curse isn't gone yet. Calypso's voice was firm, but quiet. Quiet. The kind that meant something was about to break. It's anchored to him. A manifestation forged by Bailey's magic. I cannot purge it normally. It's woven into his very flesh. Brenna forced herself up, ignoring the weakness in her limbs. So, what can we do? He's worth whatever it costs. Calypso drew in a shaky breath. Don't say that! Then reluctantly, very reluctantly, she pressed her left finger against Issa's sternum. Doyle held his breath. Mirabelle turned a degree away, not to avoid the moment, but to avoid letting others see whatever crossed her face when the danger pressed close. Calypso closed her eyes. The magic within her began to illuminate faint lines under her skin, branching patterns, formations reminiscent of water's flow, and a shining aura glimmering in the dim clearing. It's composed of magic, but magic doesn't obey the physical, the elemental. But magic obeys the physical, the elemental. You normally aren't supposed to separate them, Calypso paused, focusing. But I'm not normal. Calypso tightened her grip, making a small rune in the air with her free hand. The rune glowed faintly, then fell into the droplet suspended above of Issa's sternum. With a piercing clank, the curse shattered, disintegrating into sparks that fell into the grass. The droplet fell among them, its magic rendered inert. Issa screamed in raw human sound, then fell silent, his body slowly growing still. His pulse grew strong. His color began to return, and his respiration deepened. He opened his eyes weakly. Brenna? He turned his eyes towards her. Did I hurt anyone? He tried to lift his arm. His grip tightened just a little on Brenna. A question? Brenna pressed his hand against her heart. Whatever happened, we made it through. That's what matters. Doyle fell back against a nearby root, closed his eyes for a moment in pure relief. He turned his head towards Calypso to say something, anything, but found her hunched over, knuckles wide against her thigh. He crawled forward a bit, reluctantly placing a hand just above hers. Calypso, you did something. Something I honestly didn't think was possible. He paused and added quietly, Thank you. Calypso turned just a fraction towards him. That's what we do. For people that we care about. The words fell heavily. Some promises were made without understanding their full weight. Maribel turned back towards the group, reluctantly putting her mask on again, literal or figurative, and nodded. The curse is gone, but we're not finished yet. She pressed a finger into her earpiece. We need to move. We're exposed here. Whatever Bailey drew to us, more will come. Doyle pressed himself up with a grunt. Brenna reluctantly, fell back into. Reluctantly put. I did that already. Doyle pressed himself up with a grunt. Brenna reluctantly fell back just a step, feeling Issa's grip, but not letting him lose her. Calypso remained knelt down for a moment's peace, then forced herself to her feet. So if Mirabelle is one of these workers, does that mean Issa is too? I mean, they're brother and sister. It's possible. We don't know for sure yet. But he's got his own problems with frickin' Mercury, so one question at a time. Swamp clearing. The fire crackled quietly, its glow casting fleeting orange patterns against the gnarled roots of the nearby trees. The team fell into a comfortable silence. Brenna turned a small piece of kindling over in her hands, adding it to the fire. The flames grew just a little taller, casting a warm glow over the fight-weary forms. Mirabelle teared into Brenna, placing a heavy blanket over her shoulders, offering her a canteen filled with clear water. Brenna's grip trembled briefly as she raised it to her lips. Mirabelle tightened her own grip on the canteen for just a moment. Mirabelle nodded reluctantly, then turned away. Calypso remained somewhat at a distance, sitting with her back against the gnarled root, turning a purple-blue rune over her fingertips. Doyle kept glancing over at her, wondering if he should say something, but choosing to stay silent instead. Some wounds are meant to be forced closed. Mirabelle sighed quietly, reluctantly adding a torn piece to her own. Reluctantly adding a piece to her own rations. I must admit, a moment without danger is a moment I'm not used to. She turned her face upwards, towards a break in the clouds, where a few weak rays of starlight fell through. but I think I can grow to appreciate it. Brenna pressed closer into the fire, tugging her knees up. I'm not used to trusting people, she paused, adding quietly, but I think I'm starting to trust you. Toa nodded closely. That means a lot to me. He turned to Calypso, adding with a nervous softness, and I am really, really glad you're here, Calypso. Excuse me. Calypso tightened her grip on the rune, then slowly let it ease. She turned her head towards just a fraction towards him. Me too. The group fell into comfortable lull. Mirabel's phone suddenly rang. The piercing chime startled them all. Mirabel sighed quietly. Excuse me, I need to take this. She then turned away, putting a few paces of distance between herself and the rest of the group. Phone pressed to her ear. Mirabel, is something... Doyle began. Calypso pressed a finger to her lips. Let her. He fell silent, reluctantly. Mirabel held the phone to her face, nodding, and then whispering, I'm on the way. Then something impossible happened. The phone began to warp in her grip, melting down her waist into liquid silicon and metal. Mirabel turned, a shadow creeping across her upper forearm. The moment passed. Mirabel was gone, and something new was in her place. A true form, taller, thinner, skin subtly shimmering with a purple aura of ancient magic. Stronger, more dangerous, the creature that had been masquerading in plain sight. She stepped forward into the swamp's thickening bog. Her voice fell into a piercing glacial calm. Did you make sure they weren't hindered? Mirabel asked quietly. Oh, God, what the hell is going on now? A form stirred in the shadows. A man in a heavy tattered trench coat. He kept in place, hidden behind a hat's droopy brim. His eyes glowed faintly in the dark. It's all proceeding as Althea predicted, Bailey paused. Althea is close. The convergence will soon be upon us. Mirabel nodded slowly, reluctantly. I wish I could say I was surprised. She turned briefly towards the campfire's glow. That peace won't last much longer. And besides, I love giving people a good surprise. She grinned with ravenous glee, pairing with equally sinister giggle. The time for games is over. Bailey tightened his grip on a small item concealed in his pocket. It's time to bring everything to a close. Are you ready? She fell silent just for a moment, then nodded. I'm always ready. For the greater design. Finn, Chapter 3. Shit! You liar! Well, that doesn't mean the past is a lie. It just means that there's more to her than meets the eye. God. Notes. Happy 4th of July, everyone. I was surprised I got this chapter out so quickly after the last. Massive thanks to Spooky Electronics for going out of their way to help me with this chapter. I promise the last chapter is in the... I promise this is the last chapter in the swamp. We are going in for... I promise this is the last chapter in the swamp. We are going to go... Well, other places after this, lol. Anywho, here's another profile. Calypso Fontaine, age 25, born circa 1996. Deck, Gishki Sprite. Dual Spirit, Evigishki Neramenis. Favorite monster, Sprite Elf. Ace monster, SP Little Knight. Boss monster, Evigishki Neramenis. Penultimate monster, Ice Age Grimer Aeroline. Ultimate boss monster, Mech Knight Crusader Avramax. Height, 6'7", tall girl. Favorite music, The Spice Girls. Favorite movie, Little Mermaid 2023. Oh, she has no taste. What? It's a movie. Favorite foods, sushi. Ay. Well, that was a lot of plot twists in this one. Duel wasn't that action-packed, but it didn't need to be. This is clearly one of those stories where it's like, fuck the duel. The plot is where the interest is. I mean, that's kind of what the Dragonverse is more going for, plot over duels. Not to say they have bad duels, absolutely not. Just duels aren't the focus. We'll have them, absolutely. It's just that focus on the characters and all that stuff first and foremost. Because again, if you don't care about the duels, then... if you don't care about the story, then why the hell are you following like duels and stuff like that? I mean... if you're spooky, you can't argue with this one. If you just want to see pure raw Yu-Gi-Oh, look up YGO Pro replays or something like that. You could totally do that if that's more your cup of tea, but for the most part, if you want to see actual characters and stories being told, that's where you come to fan shows. Yeah. But, well, that was quite the bit of twists and turns, like finding out that she's a lore keeper, and that there's more to Maribel than meets the eye. I don't think she was lying with her past. I just think that there was something to that. She's probably a double agent if that's the case. Maybe her own secret guard or something like that. Stealth servant. Ugh. Damn. Only they knew. But who knows, maybe Maribel would be one of those like, but I like these ones. I won't let you hurt them! I don't know, I can theorize anyway. Or maybe she is just gonna double cross them. Time will tell that tale. But yeah, lots of shocking new revelations in this one. It was truly worth it in every way. Game just came out on freaking 4th of July. Now I'm like, oh, what? It took me forever to get to these, and now I'm like, where's chapter 4? maybe it was because I was taking so long. And real life too, a little bit. You know, that happens. And 4th of July wasn't that long ago. Let's see. January, February, March, April, May, June, July. So that's 7. That's about 2 months ago, give or take. Almost 3. That wasn't that long ago. Yeah. I think I was mostly threw me off because the top thing, it says published the 3rd, 29th. Oh, wait, no, it was updated on the 4th. But it was published in January, March. Well, whatever. Minor updates happen in time. Whatever. Point is, yeah, funny, good stuff, and good character building, and it was nice to see all this stuff. I do think, though, that Mercury is due for a win at some point. It could be against some Mook decks, just because if you want to keep his threat level up, yes, he has a lot of missiles and all this other stuff, but you can't rely on that forever, you know? It's the old thing with the brute of the group, where it's like, or the Worf effect, as some call it, where it's like, oh yeah, I'm the strongest member of the group, gets beaten every episode just to show how strong the big bad is. Which inexplicably means that the brute of the group is kind of lame by comparison. Sort of like Knuckles did Echidna, or Kevin kind of in Ben 10, because that's kind of something they did. Not to say Kevin never got any wins, it just, yeah, stuff like that happens. Like, we gotta prove how strong this new guy is. Beat the shit out of this guy. Well, what are you gonna do, I guess. But hey, it was still a really good chapter that I'm more than happy I checked out. Everything involved was really dang good. The Althea things to be even more interesting going forward. And it was nice to know more about our character's past. Just, damn. So much in this. And I'm so glad I checked it out. So, yeah. That's it for Meridian Chapter 3. What did you think? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Somewhere in between? Let me know in the comments below. And be sure to check out the original creations in the description below. But until then, I thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And hope to see all of you next time. Later.